the internet. I'm Sean Harry, and
I'm
you are
Elazar Cabrera.
Elazar Cabrera, and together we are
Those
Video Guys.
Wow, wow! It's
Looking forward to Christmas. It's
Trees
Christmas.
up.
We've got the tree up.
Yeah.
We're on the sofa.
Same tree as last year.
We've moved out the library. The library's next door. You see, we only live in 2 rooms.
That's right, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed, yes. So welcome everyone to the show.
Our Christmas show, Those Video Guys, it's been going for a year.
It's been just over a year, indeed,
Yes.
absolutely. I mean, I hope you actually watched our first anniversary video, which is all the wonderful messages
Yeah.
we got from loads of you who are fans of our show, who make these wonderful videos that we watch. But it's well, we thought for this particular, as it's our final TVG live of the year, let's just sort of look back at the year and just sort of pick our own personal highlights.
It's been a busy year, an incredible amount of stuff.
Yeah,
we've had to sit down and watch.
And certainly we haven't watched everything.
I know. Well, apparently,
You know.
from what I understand, there is on average 2 years worth of footage uploaded onto YouTube per day.
Which is incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So, and of course that's just YouTube. Think about the videos that are on Vimeo, on Blip, Daily Motion, which aren't necessarily on YouTube. So you can't imagine really how much there is to watch. And of course, we only really have like a narrow field of vision of stuff that's recommended.
Well, firstly, what we go for is the scripted dramas.
That's
the scripted dramas, of which actually they only make up a small percentage of all that stuff that's going. But it's still a vast amount that's being produced, and then we go for what has just really struck a chord with the general public, as if that stuff that's being retweeted around the place of go look at this. And really one thing to bring up, jumping around the schedule, but with the icons of 2011. Talking about stuff that's tweeted and retweeted, what about the phenomenon of Rebecca Black? Which actually just kind of shows you that you can stick something on the internet and it can, the level that went viral was just astonishing.
It was astonishing, and for all the right reasons or for not all the right reasons. It's a hard one to
actually, to some extent I felt both sorry and happy for her. I felt sorry for her because it's awful, but it's not awful because of her.
Yes.
It's bad lyrics, it's badly directed. She just happens to be the girl who's in it, and it's not like she's some genuine pop star. She was just some kid having a bit of fun. It wasn't all, being done for commercial release.
And the end result is that she got a level
of
fame.
That's why I felt sorry for her, but then I don't feel sorry for her.
A level of fame that she probably would never have imagined.
Yes.
That she would ever have got.
Well, she was whether it was her or her parents, but they were very smart in how they capitalised on this. And whether in 2 years' time she fades back into obscurity, I'm sure she's made herself a nice little nest egg that will help her for the next few years.
It's a better story than, let's say, Justin Bieber, who was very manufactured. It's like, we will create these videos that are supposed to look like home movies.
Yeah.
And it was all designed by the record company to create a phenomenon. Yeah. Which they did very well. But Rebecca Black's, I guess, story is much more genuine.
Mm. And we also had, in terms of internet icons, we also had Charlie Sheen.
our colleague at YTV.
Yes, who actually kind of like made live streaming cool and fashionable.
Well, I mean, this was quite interesting because obviously, we've been doing this show for YTV, and just waking up that next morning to find out that the first video had gone out, and you sort of watch and think, hang on a sec, that's YTV, that's us, we did this. And then of course, it had been done on Ustream, but they hadn't yet put it on YouTube. So I was the one who ended up editing the clips for Charlie Sheen's show onto the YouTube channel for YTV. So that was kind of a surreal moment. It was slightly.
But actually, just show you how an impact you can have with live streaming now. For somebody to actually get their point across straight away in and a level of interaction which you just wouldn't have been dreamt of a few years back.
It is a I mean, I think 2011 sort of segmented, although they had Twitter had been around.
Yes. Twitter definitely was. I'd say really 2010, 2011 Twitter has actually, I think, become the main social network forum for people.
But the whole Charlie Sheen story was saying, okay, live streaming video, Twitter, bringing it together. Let's use the followers I have to you know, to create a
story
amongst his videos.
I've got to say, looking at Charlie Sheen, I say that guy is either a complete mess or one of the most astute and smart and clever people on the planet. Because when you look at it, it's either a complete train wreck like Lindsay Lohan, or it's very, very clever, very calculated moves like somebody like Marilyn Manson or somebody like that to get general public interest in.
To do social networking, viral.
Oh, the way he did that was all very. And what was
it's not an easy task.
Well, no, you say it's not easy, but I mean, he made it look easy. Yes. I mean, what I was astonished by was stuff like the way he came out with catchphrases.
Yes.
Which were very short, very simple, very memorable, and you say them and you actually
very
felt
usable.
Positive. You felt positive. Just say winning. You feel good when you say that, or tiger blood. There's stuff that makes you feel strong.
Yes,
very, very clever, positive catchphrases to use. And
just a quick shout out to Susan. She says she's not staying in very long. She said she's just coming to say hello. Congratulations on your nominations.
So going on to other virals, what were your favourite virals of the year?
Well, you know me, cats. I love my cats.
Yes.
And there was the viral ad from France of they created a cat world. The cats of Bouygues Telecom, and they created this cat world. It's just everything you really want in a cat video.
Well, I loved the cats with the lightsabers in the X-wings and the TIE fighters.
Okay, yeah, that was the Jedi kittens. Strike Back.
It was just even that look, which anybody who owns cats would recognise of when they're sat in their X-wings and their TIE fighters and they're just looking out around to check the surroundings. Okay.
Did you watch the making of that?
I didn't actually watch the making of it.
It's really actually quite fascinating, because you do watch it and think, how do they do that? You know, there's no way they could. How did they? And just if you watch the making of it as well, so it's a Final Cut King, I think it's called, the channel. It is quite astonishing. They're so clever, so very clever.
That's one of those things that when it became huge virally, I was absolutely, completely well deserved and totally merited it.
You know, then you know it's proper filmmaking. You know, it's using actors who don't want to act, coupled with trying to get sort of green screen style work with them. You know, it was done very well, and I certainly recommend Final Cut King's Jedi Kittens as certainly best of 2011. Now you were talking earlier before we went on Machinima. Machinima had two very big series.
The reason I brought them up was because it was like, I mean, it was even only the other day I saw they got the exclusive rights to the G.I. Joe trailer, and it just seems Machimina's like huge at the moment.
And I think, and you know, obviously they do their video game stuff.
Yes.
But they've now tapped into a much wider network to the extent that actually they're probably one of the biggest channel. If you're doing a scripted web series, is if you get to be on Machinima's channel, you know you're going to be getting hundreds of thousands of views instead of tens of thousands of views. With
Mortal Kombat Legacy and Dragon Age, that was very interesting, and it obviously made sense for them to be on Machinima, but the majority of stuff that we see on the internet is shows that people have self-financed themselves, they're being created. I think the wrong it's a term that is both right but also has wrong connotations in that they're amateur. But they're not amateur, if you know what I mean.
They're all professional because they're working,
professionally made.
They're working in TV in other jobs or
but it's not. Whereas these were financed by big computer game companies.
I think the word you meant was independent.
Independent, yeah, but it's still people who are probably by and large being unpaid, and here we had these two series which were being made by computer game companies to promote their own products, and with an awful lot of money being spent on them with professional directors, professional actors, professional writers, some quite big name actors on some of them, and a lot of money being spent on makeup, effects, sets, stuff. I mean, you know, Jerry Ryan, you know, in one of them, and Tarmo Pennicott. You got some really strong names.
And essentially, I guess for Dragon Age and Mortal Kombat, they are advertising.
Basically, they're advertisements, and it's I think it's showing you the next level of advertising, because what it's really trying to do is, instead of having an advert on, say, ITV that goes on during Coronation Street and is maybe watched by 20 million people, but 19 million people really couldn't care less, you have this series on YouTube on Machinima to appeal to people who used to be fans of Mortal Kombat or have played Dragon Age, but to engage them into the new characters they're introducing or the new aspects of it with the new game that's being released on the PlayStation and Xbox.
As far as video games, if you think about the kind of money that they make,
video games make more money than Hollywood films. The big blockbuster
these are
ones.
Essentially relatively low cost advertising.
Yes,
for these
in
games.
In fact, it's and when you what I did like is you could really see they had tapped in to the fan market, as it were, just in like who they cast in it. Like, you know, in Mortal Kombat, you had Jerry Ryan from Star Trek 7 of 9. You had Tamo Pennicott from Dollhouse and Battlestar Galactica. And then with Dragon Age, they went and they got Felicia Day involved, which is just like, you know, absolutely geek heaven.
Well, absolutely, yeah. It's I think you've got, well, and of course, speaking of Felicia Day, she did the Guild Series 5 this year as well. But she's already has her own fan base.
She's a massive fan base.
Immediately, you've just pulled all the Guild fans in. Yeah. You know, plus the Mortal Kombat, and it was a very, very clever way to do a scripted web series. You know, and I know we had slightly different opinions on the content of it.
Well, I think that if there was a problem with Dragon Age, it was the fact that it was appealing to fans of Dragon Age who had played the game, whereas Mortal Kombat was at least presented in a way. If you've never played Mortal Kombat before, you could watch it and you could pick it up and it would introduce you to the world. Whereas the Dragon Age one was very much appealing to those who already played the game, and it was to basically to sell a download and to promote a download, adding new levels to the game.
Yeah. Other sort of, I guess, short film virals that we saw. There was one that I think we really, really liked, was The King of Legoland, which was the 80s toy. Because, well, we're teenagers of the 80s. This was a celebration of everything that we enjoyed as growing up. But there was a short film that I think we both really, really love. Cherno Kids.
All right, yes.
Do you remember this one?
This fantastic animation. Actually, really bizarre. You had to wonder if the people who made it had been like having an LSD trip for the weekend or something like that.
And short films. I mean, short films is not one that we've necessarily covered as much.
I think you get a lot more animation also we see in the short films.
We did a lot of short animations, like King of Legoland, but actually...
Well, we had a whole episode, don't know if you remember, we had a whole episode where we were just literally looking at Lego virals. So many of them.
And,
like, do you remember the Batman one we saw?
And Keshen. Keshen, I think, is one of the best.
Which was like super violent and people shooting each other up.
His stuff is just the best as far as any of those Lego ones. And,
talking of shoot 'em up,
so
I absolutely love that Bay in a Can one, which spoofed Michael Bay films. That, you know, you just open this can, you know, because when you see a Michael Bay film, it's not really in a reality. It's like this hyper reality of what a teenage boy would want, you know, with beautiful women with huge breasts and midriff showing and hot pants bending over all over the place, while Navy SEALs crawl over the building and swooping panoramic camera shots. And I found it a very clever little spoof on the look that you have of Michael Bay's films.
Now, I know someone who's really your favourite. So look at
I think it's everybody's very Freddie Wong.
Freddie Wong, got to be one of your favourite channels of the year.
It's fantastic. I actually had some friends who were watching the show. They tuned into the show to watch us on it, and we reviewed Freddie Wong, and they were just screaming big guns for a week after that. But for those who don't know, Freddie Wong, just get the impression he's some guy who's being given an Adobe package of Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects.
Well, he's actually was known before doing this,
right?
As someone who was that video Rockstar, the video game with the guitar, and he was like a professional gamer for that game.
Well, in terms of this, it's like each week, you know, when he downloads a new video, it's really based around special effects techniques, but there's a huge amount of humour behind what he does, and it's just very short. It's just a short gag. Apparently he's going to be doing something scripted soon, which should be very interesting.
I know, this is something that I'm very looking forward to.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of think this guy does have talent, but he's only he's almost doing sort of throwaway videos.
Well, no, each video is just a gag. It's just gag, based on a gag.
You watch it once, you pass it over to your friends, you wait for the next one, but it's not. And he does have a loyal fan base who keep coming back to watch his stuff, but he's not yet been tested, I suppose, as far as whether or not he could actually turn his talents into doing a longer format. Someone who has started doing web series, who's again in the sort of animation special effects realm, is the Mystery Guitar Man.
Who you interviewed? Well,
we've had in the past year we've had 2 interviews on our YouTube channel with him. I got to interview him once personally recently when he came to London.
Yeah,
just so creative, so creative, and I think he's a proper filmmaker. And he's always trying to find new techniques to create ideas. Whereas the Freddie Wongs and the channels like that, they do their After Effects work, and so I guess there is a sense of predictability about what they're doing. Mystery Guitar Man, he's always trying to find a whole new techniques, a whole new ways to baffle you about how did he do that?
Yeah.
How did he do that? And I think that's what keeps his channel very, very fresh to me.
Yes.
Vampires?
Well, it does seem to me that basically every time there's a new series on the internet, it's either a comedy show or it's about vampires. But of course, with Twilight in the air, Vampire Diaries, Buffy the Vampire Slayer never going away, it's I'm not surprised. There was
Suck and Moan,
Suck and Moan. Two which stuck out in my mind was Suck and Moan and Blood and Bone China. Suck and Moan is what happens if vampires meet zombies, and Blood and Bone China is Victorian vampires crushing down people's bones for bone china. I
mean, they're vampire series, but they're 2 completely different.
I mean,
so
what's
Suck and Moan is a sitcom.
Suck and Moan is a sitcom.
Blood and Bone China is a horror drama.
It really, I found a new spin on spoofing the vampire and the zombie genre. It was like, what happens to a vampire if he gets bitten by a zombie? And things like that. They really found a lot of comic mileage. It was very, very original.
Yeah.
And it's actually something I'm quite surprised. It would make a very good Hollywood movie or something. That is the concept behind it. I'm surprised it hasn't been picked up. But I've got to say, I really did enjoy that. You were saying about viral adverts.
Yes.
And also we didn't. We talked about viral. Didn't touch about one viral advert I did want to throw out to was the Sony PlayStation one.
Yes.
Which is like cosplay heaven.
Yes.
It's. I don't know if you've seen it. It's absolutely awesome. You have some World War II parachutists who are obviously from the original Call of Duty or some Medal of Honor, a game like that. Land behind what looks like in French enemy lines or something. They run into a pub, and while they're in this bar, it is just filled with every single computer game character from the PlayStation 3, and the joy is working out who all these characters are. Like there's Nate from Uncharted, there's Cole from Infamous. You've got the Sackboy there. There's the Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. All the different Kratos from
Sackboy was my favourite.
Yes,
I have to. I completely.
Sackboy he was playing chess, wasn't he?
I completely marked out for Sackboy.
Yes,
because he had all these sort of like big guys and scary looking things, and so you had little Sackboy just there playing chess with a very scary looking clown type creature.
And I've got to say, I just thought it was just one of the best adverts and that was really actually a very clever way of Sony to actually create an advert that you definitely would want to retweet to your friends. You'd see this and you just go, this is awesome. And that's what viral advertising is all about, doing something which people are going to want to share with other people.
And of course we were talking about the early one, that French one with the cats. I mean, that's I mean, it's just so cute. You just have to tweet it, retweet it and share it.
Comedy shows, it does seem to me that the main thing on. We were discussing, remember, a few months back about how with low budget films it's always horror, but it seems on low budget on the YouTube filmmakers are going for comedy.
Yeah.
And a lot of it seems to be based on personal experience. A lot of comedies about actors or directors or stuff like that. So what comedy shows particularly got you in 2011?
Well, there was McCracken Live. This was just a great sort of sitcom, really. This character who's actually just so fun to watch. And it is a personality based series. McCracken Live, and obviously there was there's the story of the character who plays McCracken Live, Caroline McCracken, but then also they did all these additional content, and that was the thing. It's just like they actually showed you, okay, here are the actual clips from the show, because it's a show about the making of a show, but at the same time they're showing you the actual TV show.
That's one thing I've seen a lot
the web content.
In terms of the internet, a lot of web series have been doing stuff like that to kind of, you watch it and they have other content that's available. What one comedy series I particularly loved was Cupid and Eros. It's one of the first shows that we reviewed, which I enjoyed quite a bit. Basically, it was the modern day adventures of the Greek gods, what the Greek gods, pantheon of Greek gods up to in modern days. And you had Cupid and Eros, and he just can't get a girlfriend. He just can't get love himself.
Yes, no, it's a
whereas
fun
Eros
series,
doesn't seem to have any problems.
Yeah. No, it was. I enjoyed that one as well. Yes, no, definitely. And they did a wonderful, very nice new sketch for us.
They did
for our first anniversary.
Oh yes, no, yes.
Which was lovely. Now, one of my favourites, definitely for the year for comedy, was Fresh Hell.
And that we had a fantastic. What really drove that was a great performance by Brent Spiner.
Yeah,
it was all really around his character, and it's just very funny. And I just loved the way they were talking about the incident in his career, which is this incident that has effectively destroyed his career. But we never actually get to hear really what it is. But
it's a fantastic series, and it's actually one of the few web series I've actually watched like maybe 3 or 4 times now, and sometimes it just doesn't stop being funny. And they've now filmed a second series, and I guess that we'll get that in 2012. I'm just really looking forward to it.
Well, one show that I watched several times, that's a drama show. Moving on to top dramas. And it does show the absolute creativity on the internet. That to create a science fiction show with effectively, how do you create a Blade Runner style science fiction show? And in fact, they go with it, but not have a budget, and actually turn it to their advantage with this fantastic looking series by going with this stylistic kind of like hand drawn background look, which it makes it like this living comic book.
Yes, no, it is, and it is actually quite astonishing the way it looks. The production value of it. Definitely, it's one of those series that if ever you want to get involved in web series, it's one of those that's just for pure inspiration, just to see how a low budget series can just make something so unique.
Well, I would put it there. It's probably my favourite web series, along with The Guild, which we didn't actually review this year. But did you watch the season 5 of The Guild?
No, I'm waiting for it to come out on iTunes next week.
All right, okay. Well, they go to a science fiction convention, and it's probably their funniest season yet, and it's actually probably their best look. I mean, it looks like a proper episode of a TV. It's really obviously had quite a bit of money spent on it now, but the show is now becoming so popular in terms of DVD sales, merchandise sales. They can take it to that next level.
I mean, certainly, if there's the two web series that Aiden 5 and Blood and Bone China are the ones I always kind of tell people to look at.
Yes.
When if I meet filmmakers who are thinking about doing web series but don't actually know much about it, it's just, to me, they're both inspirational as far as this is what you can do with a really low budget. Don't ever let budget hinder you. Just open up your mind to
if you want to
ideas.
if you want to do something in the story.
Yeah.
What they've basically, the makers of Blood and Bone China and the makers of 8 and 5 have said is, this is the story we've got to tell. How do we overcome our budget? How do we actually turn it to our advantage and still be able to tell what the story wants to tell? And they both look great.
And 8 and 5 did it on green screens, and they drew their backgrounds. And Blood and Bone China said, well, look, we're in this incredible city. Look at these locations, the Victorian locations. Let's just use what is there available to us on the street. You know, these amazing houses that they've got. Another drama that was in its 3rd and final series this year was Anyone But Me. And this series just kept on going from strength to strength as well. And it's one of those things, what a shame it's ending, really. Because you've got really such a wonderful sort of love story and these characters, and I think people have just sort of really tuned into it. I think when we reviewed it, we just said it's just a modern drama series. You know, it's something that young people can watch today, and it's relevant to them. And it just feels young, and it just feels. I say it's relevant today. It just feels very, very relevant. This is modern day city life for young people. It's just and it's a series. I really, really enjoyed it, and I know they've got one more special to tie it all together, and then it's over. But
well, at least it is being tied all together.
Yes, unlike some series which just have to end.
Yeah,
because they've just run out of money.
What was that one we were reviewing? One of the first ones we did, this horror series about a female demon, and the lead character was it was very obvious that
they changed. That was Soulfire Rising.
Right.
Yes.
Because that was actually the first one I.
Well, another one that you reviewed, I think, on your first
Brian
episode.
Forbes. Yes, that was one of the first ones. Yes.
Which, again, this series has been running for like near 5 years now. And it just doesn't, then it just keeps. It's a sketch show, so they can keep going, and it just keeps looking better and funnier. And the guys are a magnificent comedy duo, and just really glad that they had more episodes this year, and hopefully look forward to more episodes in 2012. But going back to some viral stuff, let's.
Yes.
I know one that you really like.
Oh God, this was hysterical.
Two kids who don't want to go to Disneyland.
Basically, what I was being retweeted. Some. Where was it in America? They said
Chattanooga.
Yes, some parents have booked tickets to take their kids to Disney World, but to make it a surprise, they told them they were going to Chattanooga. And then they videoed
Disney at the last minute.
And then they videoed them as they told them, actually, we're not going to Chattanooga, we're going to Disney World, and the kids are devastated.
We want to go to Chattanooga.
And there was this other one I remember, which was just like the insanity of it.
Yeah.
Was this man in a snake pit?
Ah, yes, the snake pit man.
Yes.
This is the man. It's actually what it is. It's a man who's cleaning a cobra pit.
Yeah.
And he literally just picks up cobras and throws them
around with just total abandon. It's like you watch him and you just like, you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah. But one favourite viral, because it got turned into a song, was the eHarmony dating video, which then got turned into a song called Can't Hug Every Cat. And again, we love cat videos.
I'll tell you one cat video I didn't like. It seemed to be this cartoon cat in a biscuit with a rainbow following it, going ad infinitum for about it was like
Nyan Cat. Well,
it was like oh my god. Well, there's actually one thing we actually haven't reviewed.
Yeah.
But I don't think we could because of copyright reasons. I'm moving something out. Don't worry, I'm going to move something else off this. But have you seen the amount of people who are now doing videos which are a bit like that cat video? It just goes on and on and on. But it's just that 10 or 15 second clip of Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones smacking Joffrey in the face, and it's just slap, slap, slap. Tyrion slapping Joffrey for 10 solid minutes, and you look at these, and they've got like 1 million hits.
Well, Joffrey is very slappable.
Yes.
But speaking of Game of Thrones,
so let's move on to this. The 16-bit version.
College
of Game
Humor,
of Thrones.
College Humor doing their 16-bit comedy sketches. and Game of Thrones.
Well, the funny thing about it was, it actually didn't feel like a comedy sketch. It looked like as if they're a genuine Super Nintendo adaptation of Game of Thrones. It was absolutely perfectly done.
Yes, no, it was very
highly
funny.
Impressive.
Very, very funny. This was, I don't know if you were you reviewing this one with me? I can't remember.
I don't remember this one.
This was Grand Rapids Lip Dub, and this is just again one of his sort of flash mob style videos, which to me I just really loved it, just because it was a great song for a start. But it was all done in one take, and it was like an 8-minute song using almost the entire town. And it was just a one take, and it was just absolutely, because they're literally driving around the town with the camera, and everyone's just sort of doing this sort of, you know, only way is to Amarillo style of walking, and it's just astonishing. Again, it's just one of those sort of filmmaking feats. Can we actually involve the entire town, cars, trucks, and just time it so perfectly, so as the camera moves around, the next people coming into the next chorus, and it was well, they would have had to completely shut down the entire centre of the city for that one. Angry Birds the movie trailer. Do you remember this one?
I don't think I was here that week.
No, it was just it was turning Angry Birds into a action movie.
Oh my goodness!
As a film trailer, it was just again brilliant, and it was just Angry Birds, another phenomenon of 2011, I suppose.
Do you remember the trailer for the Avengers? Somebody did as
the Sweded
version.
Yes. Trailers. I mean, trailers are always very popular. But going back to some channels. This was a channel that we reviewed, I think, before you came on board.
Epic Mealtime, yes, but we keep on going
we have come back to them because
they keep on doing other videos that we like so much.
Yes, Epic Mealtime, who now have, I think they launched in 2010 and became one of the fastest growing YouTube channels, and they now have their own. They've just launched this very recently. They've got their own branded food products.
Oh goodness! Epic food products, I take it.
Epic Mealtime food products, and they're both. They've got two new ones, and of course they're both bacon flavoured.
Yeah. I recently heard a comedian make a joke that a pig's proper name is Bacon Wrapper.
Oh dear, poor old pigs.
Tasty old pig.
But some personalities. We had a guest.
Cheeky TV.
We had a guest.
Yes.
Cheek TV and YouTube.com Cheek TV, fantastic channel, really funny comedian by Gary Caplehorn, who does a puppet show, and it's just very, very funny. He's what we discovered, because obviously he does his pre-recorded videos on his channel, but when he came and did our channel, it's just how quick he is.
His humour was, yes.
I mean, he's a very, very good comedian. Deserves far more subscribers, and I think just really one of the best in the UK right now. And I know we've been reviewing a lot of American stuff, and Blood and Bone Shine I think was the only thing we've actually sort of said check out. But Cheek TV is a great channel.
Yeah.
And
what was that Korean show that we saw about the cosplays?
It was Indonesian. It was called Cosplay Series, which is into their second series right now.
Yeah,
it's become much more fantasy epic.
Yeah.
Very, very good as well. 31. 31 was another unique web series, which deserves another mention because
it's a very clever concept behind
31 episodes, each lasting 31 seconds.
Yes. And each one really just left you on a cliffhanger of what's questioning what's going on and where is it going next.
Yeah.
It was very well produced.
Yeah. No, definitely. And again, it's one of those things that's, again, you just recommend to anyone who's thinking about doing a web series as an inspiration. Just think of something unique, think of a hook that no one else has done, and these guys did it. They did the 31-second web series. Night of the Zombie King was the sequel to Gold, and Gold was a series we've also reviewed, and Night of the Zombie King, set in the same world. It's role players who play Dungeons and Dragons style game called Goblins and Gold, and comedy drama. Again, a very tough genre to actually do, I would have thought, for web series, because people expect comedy on the whole for short form content. So drama, drama stuff, but comedy drama, it's like, is it funny? Is it going to be dramatic, but these guys pull it off.
Well, the majority of stuff on the YouTube I find actually is comedy drama. That's what they all seem to go for. So,
but I think Night of the Zombie King pulled it off really, really well. Now, one thing that we did complain about was the propensity of so many web series about actors.
Yes.
But there was one I think that kind of stood out for both of us that we really, really enjoyed, which was Girl Parts.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things you think, we're going to watch another series about actors trying to make it in Hollywood. But then this one just surprised me because it was just
a lot fresher than a lot of the other ones we saw.
The four leads are just fantastic. It was actually a pleasure to actually review this one, and I'm actually recently downloaded it again on iTunes, and I'm actually rewatching it from the beginning, and it's just sort of like in one block. Another web series that I really, really, really enjoyed was Pretty.
Yeah.
Now, it's just black humour. It's just warped. It's dark. It's just one of those things I just really enjoy. And again, it's just one of it. If there's a kind of humour that you can't get on TV, do it as a web series.
Well, that's really the thing. That the great thing about web series is they're covering so much stuff that you would not get on TV.
Yes, and it's used it to its advantage. It's embraced the fact that this is something that can never be shown on TV because when you're doing a comedy spoof of toddlers and tiaras, you can't use real toddlers, so they use an adult actress pretending to be a 5-year-old. Brilliant. I mean, it's genius. Really enjoyed it. And they're into their 3rd series this year as well, and can't wait. But going back to horror, Black Box TV. Black Box TV anthology series just keeps going from strength to strength.
I don't think I was here when you reviewed that.
You weren't. No, you weren't. It was like a week before, I think.
Right.
And it's an anthology series. Every episode is a different story, but it's Twilight Zone. It's the internet's version of the Twilight Zone, and as an example of how to do a web series and do social marketing really, really well and build up a fan base, Black Box TV have spot on. And a lot of web series creators can probably learn a lot about what Tony does as far as being a director, but also as being a social networking guru, really, for web series. There is one channel on YouTube. I know you're this guy was
so funny.
Harry Partridge.
So funny.
A British animated web series channel.
The recent ones he had was a Song of Skyrim.
Yes.
And the trailer for it. But so much other of his work is just... I particularly like his spoofs on Nicolas Cage.
Yes. And Stephen the Lesbian.
Yeah.
Harry Partridge, really talented animator.
Fantastic very animation, funny. But it's just so funny.
Comedy, songs.
Yeah.
He does all the voices as well. Just brilliant, and they just go viral very, very quickly, and you can see why when you watch it. And actually, that's something we did notice. Actually, was when we were looking for stuff to review, is that the British had some really, really good YouTube channels for animation.
Animation, yes, we seem to lead on animation.
Definitely a lot of animators coming out of Britain, which are all just really top channels. Talk a friend of yours.
Bandwagon, Emma Caulfield.
Bandwagon.
That's another thing of kind of actors in Hollywood, but this one really spoofs
kind of in the Fresh Hell kind of mold, isn't it, of mockumentary.
Yeah. With her looking for the next, as it were, bandwagon to get involved with.
They had obviously last year released the movie as a web series, but this year, 2011, was when they released Bandwagon, the web series proper.
And actually, I'm thinking of Bandwagon, it also shows you how things are actually springing up.
Yeah.
To actually, as a result of people doing YouTube shows with something like Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Because she was able to finance the 2nd season of Kickstarter, and Kickstarter actually almost seems there specifically for people to raise money for their YouTube shows.
Absolutely, and...
I was watching some Chad Vader the other week, and it just kept coming
up. It's on Kickstarter as well, is he?
Go help us on Kickstarter.
It's if you're working really hard on the social networking side of your marketing, the Kickstarter makes sense because you've already tapped into a loyal fan base who want to support and help you. And of course, they're going to recommend it to all their friends to do that as well. Video game reunion. The Mario, and Peaches, and they're all past their
Seamus Aran. It was all kind of like
they're all past their sell-by date.
It was all the 8-bit Nintendo heroes meeting up again and
going to a convention.
Yeah.
Well, as someone who does conventions, how did you relate to this one?
I thought it was fun. Some of the costumes were very impressive on it. So
it's fun, and again, it was just. It's just something different, isn't it? It's just it's doing something I guess you wouldn't do on TV. You can appeal to a slightly more older, adult, mature
but also
audience.
You can appeal to a geek market like that, which can actually range in the millions, which they would barely. I mean, the closest you're going to get on television is The Big Bang Theory or something like that.
It's
something like Video Game Reunion would never be even considered on regular television.
I mean, if they go into a second series, I would hope that Machinima would say, "Hey guys, bring the second series onto our channel," because actually it would make sense to be on that channel, wouldn't it? A drama series that I reviewed, because it was done very early on in those video guides, which you didn't see, was Untitled Fiction Project. And to me, this just really, really stood out as a drama series. Again, because I think drama is really, really hard on doing as a web series, and I think the ones that shine through just show that they've got great writing. And Untitled Fiction Project was unscripted. It was an improvised drama, but just executed so well. And episodes are nice and short, and because it's unscripted, they put the episode out, they get the feedback, they see the comments, they react with the audience, and that might affect how the actors perform on the next episode and how the story develops. Fantastic. I think they're planning to do a second series. Really can't wait to see what they come up with. You know, it's and I'm surprised that more drama hasn't picked up on what Untitled Fiction Project did, and think, you know what, this is actually because web series you can experiment.
Yes.
You can afford to experiment. You know, especially if you're making it with your own resources, really, and not necessarily spending someone else's money, but it's all done with your. You can experiment and just try something out different, something new. Now, something that had vampires, which because we had our vampire subject earlier, Vampire Zombie Werewolf.
Yeah.
Love the series.
A lot of fun.
1950s style sitcom with vampires, zombies,
and werewolves. Yes.
And it's all down to the performances. Especially Bunny. We really, really love Bunny. But it's a great series, and I really hope they make a second series. I've not heard anything yet whether that will actually happen, but it's a series that got overlooked by the IAW TV nominations, and it shouldn't have, because it's so fun. It's just a lot of fun, and it's one of those series. Just tell someone, watch the whole lot back to back. It's. I wonder if they string it together, this could be a pilot for a TV show. It should be on the Sci-Fi Channel. It should.
To be honest, there's a lot of stuff which I have watched on YouTube, which is better than a lot of pilots or TV shows you see out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, considering those terrible movies that Sci-Fi Channel show, they could be using these filmmakers who are making these wonderful series and say, look,
make us something decent.
Well, not even that, but you know, you've shown that you can do this good series. You know, here's more money. We're going to invest.
Fortunately, Hollywood doesn't work that way.
They don't invest that way. No, they don't. It's a shame. A real shame. Going back to British animators, though.
Oh right, Simon's Cat. Yes.
Simon's Cat.
Hugely, but this is so hugely popular.
And it's.
But I think it appeals to every cat lover.
Every time there's a new episode, you think, just got to show it. You've got to pin it to your face, but you just want everyone to see it because they're just adorable, absolutely fantastic. And if you've ever owned a cat, Simon's Cat represents every cat that you've ever owned. I mean, it's food. Now going back to viral adverts, I think there was one advert that went huge, and I think it's officially.
Well, just because it hit the zeitgeist of the moment.
I think it's officially the most viewed viral ad of this year as well.
I'm not surprised though, because it hit the right moment. It was covering something that was on everybody's mind at the time, the royal wedding.
but at the same time, it had such positivity and
Oh, yeah.
feel-good factor.
But it's still, you know, it was very clever. I'm not taking that away from it. But I'm just saying it does show you sometimes the importance when you're doing something like a viral advert and you want something to go viral, is to get whatever is relevant to the mood of the time. It was a very clever idea. That
Royal Wedding is just one. It was just that video, just like everybody was. I just saw it on Facebook so many times. It was like people just pinning it to their walls. It's like everyone had to see this video. And of course, like I said, it just it was tuning into the zeitgeist, but also just it just feels good watching it. You feel happy, and of course, in the run up to the Royal Wedding, everybody was just being happy.
Yeah.
One more web series I think we were going to give a mention to. Another friend of yours.
Yes, I don't know. We haven't reviewed this one yet, have we?
Well, I did review it. You were you were doing a convention that week.
Right, because one of the stars of that, Alessandro Torresani, is one of my best friends.
Husbands, the web series. Yes, I reviewed it when I had some guests.
How many cheers did you give it?
It was unanimously three cheers from everybody. It just so funny. You just watch every episode back to back. It brought back almost the 2007 style of let's do 2-minute episodes as opposed to nowadays it's like 4 or 5 minutes. But just done so well, and you obviously with big Hollywood writers, but doing something completely independent.
Jane Espenson, yes,
something indie.
Jane Espenson, who created the show, now is working on Game of Thrones. Yeah. She's worked on shows such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Battlestar Galactica.
So just
I have to say that I think one of my favourite web shows of the year had to be Talking Who.
Talking Who was amazing.
And for those Talking Who viewers out there, Elazar, the fantastic news this weekend. 2 new episodes of Doctor Who.
Well, not new episodes.
Two previously thought lost episodes. And it's not even just that. It's like it's almost perfect for fans. It's one Hartnell and one Troughton.
And if you remember when we had Jeremy Bentham on the show, his prediction was that as far as the TV companies, he thinks they've found every episode they can possibly can.
Apart from, he says, the one country they haven't been there, they know BBC had sold episodes to, but haven't been able to check. Was it Uganda? It was one of those. I think that was like the one. But he said it's going to probably, if there's any more, it's from collectors.
Collectors, people who've hidden them in their basement or in their attic, who seem to like the idea that they're the only ones with that copy. Yeah. But one day they will eventually.
Well, this guy genuinely forgot. He bought these and he had no real idea.
Do you believe that though?
I don't know, but
I mean, I don't know how much. It's convenient to say you didn't, because it sounds better than. Yes, I hoarded it for like 50 years in my attic because I didn't want anyone else to have it.
You do know that after Tomb of the Cybermen was found in Hong Kong, a fan came forward who had a copy as well.
Really?
Yes. So it was a much poorer grade copy than the Hong Kong version, but somebody actually did actually.
He didn't have it exclusive anymore, so there's no point having it. I guess that's what.
So it does make you want. I mean, that's where we can keep our fingers crossed. But 2 episodes. I'm particularly excited to see the episode of Galaxy 4. Bit of classic heart now.
Well, I listened to Galaxy 4 this year actually on the audios, and I was really wishing you could see it because it just sounded like because I guess in that first season a lot of it had been all the historical stories. Yes. So it was like with the exception of the Daleks, it was sort of the first real proper sci-fi-ish type story, wasn't it? But we've now digressed to Doctor Who.
Well, that's us for 2011.
So out of our highlights of the year, any video of the year or series of the year?
Well, if I gave a series here, it'd probably have to be Aiden 5 because I just really felt that for a YouTube show done on a low budget, they'd done a fantastic job of just doing something which, using the creativity, it could stand up against a big budget movie. It really did hold its own, and it was very compelling drama and great science fiction. If I had to give a viral of the year, I'm torn between the lightsaber kitties and their X-Wings and TIE fighters, and also the Sony PlayStation advert.
Michael PS3,
Yes.
Web series, I would to me it'd be really difficult to choose between Fresh Hell and Blood and Bone China. Both just two of my favourite shows. So I'd pick probably both those. As far as virals, I would probably go with Can't Hug Every Cat Song. Just because you can just listen to it and just feel really happy for cats, which I love to feel happy for cats all the time. So yeah, that's my choice. Thanks everyone for joining us.
I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Watching our show on 2011. I hope when we're going to be back in 2012.
It will probably be, I guess, maybe the second Wednesday of January.
Right. So we guess we'll see you guys. I hope you have a really great Christmas.
Indeed.
Hope you have a fantastic New Year, and keep supporting new, fresh talent on the internet.
And watching on YouTube, and I know a lot of you are, please put in the comments what your favourite shows of the year are. Would really like to know what your virals of the year are, what your web series of the year are. Just post them in the comments.
Or just comment on how sexy you think I am.
And yeah, we'd love to read that, and we'll reply to those. I will probably be editing some videos that we recorded throughout the year, which we just never edited and never posted. And now that I've got Christmas, I'll probably have a bit more time to catch up on my editing. So do subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ThoseVideoGuysTV to watch that. I don't know, I might even do a Talking Who after Christmas, I don't know.
Well, let us know, but we do have the Christmas special to review.
We do have the Christmas special to
We've got my convention to discuss. We've got brand new lost episodes discovered to discuss. You know what?
I've been re-watching Game of Thrones on Sky.
Yeah.
And so after I finish watching that, I wouldn't mind doing a Talking Thrones. We can talk about your convention of that as well. And great thing about that is now I'm not going to Berlin, so I'll be available to come. And
then there's also there should be a new DVD release on Dot2 pretty soon as well, isn't there? They usually have around the beginning of January. What's this? The Invasion of the Dinosaurs and the Android Invasion. So you know, if we want to do a Talking Who next few weeks, we've got a lot to discuss.
Yep, indeed.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed us.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
I'm Sean Harry.
I'm Melissa Cabrera.
And we're those video guys.
Merry Christmas.